And Ripple's native token XRP soared a whopping 14% after the company's CEO announced that the SEC is dropping its long-running lawsuit against the firm. Brad Garlinghouse took to X this morning to announce that the regulator will drop its appeal in the case against the crypto payments company, which he called a, quote, resounding victory for Ripple and the crypto industry. Back in 2020, the SEC filed charges against Ripple and two of its executives, including Garlinghouse, for allegedly violating investor protection laws. In a video posted on X today, Garlinghouse said now, more than 4 years later, he is able to finally announce that the case is over.
2,500 XRP could be your ticket to a $10,000 payout, an inside secret that could change your crypto game overnight. Now, you've probably seen the headlines, the hype, the chatter, but what if I told you that holding just 2,500 XRP by April could unlock a future payout of up to $10,000? That's right. While mainstream narratives focus on Bitcoin and Ethereum, there's a pulse beneath the surface, a community-driven, underdog story with all the makings of a blockbuster documentary. How did XRP get to this tipping point? And most importantly, what exactly is setting the stage for this potential bull run? Today, we peel back the layers, exploring the technical consolidations, the relentless XRP army, and the shifting tides of market sentiment.
The guy who predicted that Trump will get shot in the ear, Brandon Biggs, has just predicted that he sees XRP at the price of $10,000.
This is true. He posted this video 3 months ago on a podcast. He called everything that happened this last weekend to a T. And he also said that he saw the same time XRP at 10K. You can go look this up. It's crazy. And the crazy thing is, if you bought even just $1,000 of XRP and then went to a $10,000 price, you'd make $19 million. Now, in my opinion, I don't know if XRP is going to hit that. My realistic price goals are around $7 to $10. But if you follow on the Instagram, how we make the money is not betting on fairy tales. It's basing our stuff in realism and then acting on it. XRP will go fucking bananas. But what do you think in the comments? Do you think the XRP could hit $10,000? That'd make it one of the most valuable assets in the world.
It's a curious time in the crypto space. The price of XRP has been dancing a tight sideways waltz, oscillating gently yet persistently over the past 10 days, while day traders have been cashing in on those quick in and out moves. The bigger picture tells a more compelling story. As we navigate this period of consolidation, we're not just watching numbers on a screen, we're witnessing the calm before what could be a transformative storm.
The Federal Reserve is going to buy back XRP for $10,000 a token. This is a theory that has been all over social media, so is it true or not? Well, the truth is it doesn't make sense for any entity to be buying XRP for anything above market price. So in order for any entity to be buying XRP for $10,000 a token, XRP is going to have to hit those prices. That is going to require an absurd amount of volume to flow into the XRP ecosystem.
You might ask, why XRP? Why not ride the familiar waves of Bitcoin or Ethereum? Let's break it down. Bitcoin has been breaking its own records, smashing through all-time highs and igniting fierce debates among crypto purists. But here's a twist. While Bitcoin maximalists try to pull everyone back into the BTC fold, the XRP community, often described as a fiercely loyal, almost cult-like collective, is on a mission. They aren't just holding, they're actively campaigning, pushing for a narrative that's as unique as it is ambitious. And as institutional investors line up, applying for XRP ETFs and banking on its success, it's clear that this isn't just another coin riding a trend. It's a digital asset with a distinct personality, ready to break out once the consolidation phase ends.
When you look at what Bitcoin is versus XRP, you'll see for actual usage of the technology, when you pull it up and you compare the two against each other, here's what you'd come up. When it comes down to transaction speed, you notice Bitcoin 10 minutes, XRP 3 to 5 seconds. Transaction cost, high during congestion, XRP very low. Decentralization, we talked about that. Use case, store value, person to person, XRP cross-border systems, supply 21 million, XRP 100 billion. Energy use is high, XRP low. Adoption, broad mainstream, XRP niche institutional. So if you look at this, of course, like, well, then XRP is better. That's what I'm going to be doing. You pull up another chart. This other chart talks about transactions per second. Okay, average block time. Bitcoin, 10 minutes. Litecoin, 2.5 minutes. Ethereum, 15 seconds. Ethereum 2.0, 12 seconds. Ripple, 3 to 5 seconds. Solana, 0.4 seconds.
I remember the first time I truly understood the potential of XRP. It wasn't during a flashy headline or an overnight social media surge. It was in the quiet moments of chart analysis where I saw the familiar bullish patterns reminiscent of early Bitcoin cycles. Think about it. While Ethereum trades in the thousands, XRP sits at a palatable price point, allowing retail investors to accumulate significant positions. Imagine buying in at $3 a token. With 2,500 XRP in your pocket, that's an entry of around $7,800. But here's the kicker. If that price creeps up to $5 or even $10 in the next few months, your initial stake could potentially double, triple, or even multiply exponentially.
It could be. There are events, things that have to happen for the price to appreciate. You need stablecoin regulations. You need XRP ETFs. You need R3 to facilitate the settlement of the back end of the stock market when there's unrealized losses and to settle in XRP. Like, there's a lot of things that need to happen for XRP to go to $1,000. But, just to have upward price momentum, I mean, we just get the launch of the ETFs or the settlement of the Ripple case. Either one of those is going to cause speculation on the token and drive price. Speculation on the token by retail, I think could drive it to like $3, $4. If you had the ETFs, I think you could see a $50 XRP. If you have Swift adoption, you could see a 3-digit XRP within 24 to 48 hours.
Now let's step back and look at the technicals. Right now, the charts are showing classic signs of consolidation, a period that, historically, has been the perfect prelude to explosive moves. Whether you're a scalper, a swing trader, or someone who believes in holding for the long run, these patterns are a goldmine. On the 4-hour charts, we see subtle upward momentum, a series of bull flags reminiscent of market patterns that have, time and again, led to breakout rallies. And when that breakout comes, it's not just a small surge, it's a catalyst that could redefine XRP's role in the crypto ecosystem.
XRP is still $2.44 after it had that, pretty nasty collapse with the tariffs. Everything collapsed. It wasn't just the crypto market. It was the stock market as well. We've been range bounding sideways. Ethereum is 2,600, hasn't got moving yet. Bitcoin's been floating around that 96,000. But more importantly, XRP is just consolidating. I talked yesterday about the TTM squeeze, humps being in the tank. Last time that happened, that set up our big move. XRP is just, again, setting up for a big move. And this guy right here, okay, Brian Quintins, head of the Commodities Futures Trading Commission.
Behind these technical signals is something even more powerful: community. The XRP army isn't just a group of investors. They're a movement. They're not content with watching from the sidelines. They're out there on social media, sharing charts, dissecting patterns, and most importantly, believing. There's an almost palpable energy when you see these bull flags drawn by passionate community members who aren't afraid to stake their claim on what they believe will be a seismic shift in the market. This isn't just speculation. It's a collective grassroots faith that sometimes believing hard enough can shape reality.
Yeah, I see someone asked in the chat, are we conspiracy theorists? Yeah, you already know where it's at. See, they don't criticize us for being broke. They might call us a conspiracy theorist cult. The XRP army's a cult. But one thing's for sure, they'll make fun of us. Think of all that you could have done over the 5 or 10 years. You could have spent your time so much better. And they act like we're just sitting on our XRP hoping and praying, right? They can't say that we're broke. They can't say that we're not taking action. And they can't say that we didn't take advantage of the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. If we're 50% wrong, 90% wrong, still a life-changing opportunity. But even if we're wrong about XRP completely, let's give it to them. We're completely wrong about XRP.
I get it. This might sound like one of those lofty, it'll happen scenarios. But let's consider the context. XRP isn't just competing with other digital currencies on technical merits. It's also a story of resilience. After enduring the SEC battles, regulatory setbacks, and a barrage of FUD from detractors, XRP has emerged stronger, more focused, and more united than ever before. And now, with the potential approval of an XRP ETF looming on the horizon, the stage is set for an institutional influx that could mirror the explosive inflows we witnessed with Bitcoin's dramatic ascent last year. In fact, think back to when Bitcoin broke through its previous ceilings. Those institutional moves created a ripple effect that pushed prices into uncharted territory. Now, XRP stands on the precipice of its own breakout moment.
This has been a long battle. How much certainty does this provide? Is the entire case over?
So this provides a lot of certainty for Ripple, for frankly me personally, because the SEC had sued me. The SEC has abandoned their appeal. And so they filed suit in December of 2020. We won on the key parts of the case in the summer of 23. Judge Torres made a ruling that XRP in and of itself was not a security. That's almost a verbatim quote. The SEC filed an appeal about 8 months ago. And what they've now agreed is that they're going to drop that appeal. We still have a cross appeal pending. And so we go from being defendant really to plaintiff. So we now are in the driver's seat to determine how we want to proceed.
Are you dropping it?
We're going to see. It feels a lot better to be on the offense than the defense. 4 years, we spent over $150 million defending that case. Not just for Ripple, but for the whole industry. I think it was really important that this SEC, the Gensler SEC, was really trying to bully and continue lawfare, filing lawsuits and lawsuits and lawsuits against crypto companies. That's over now, and I think that's great for the U.S. crypto industry and frankly great for crypto at large.
Speaking of institutional interest, let's dive into that a bit more. Major banks and financial institutions have started to take notice. Unlike the traditional narratives spun by Bitcoin maximalists, the XRP community benefits from a tangible real-world application. It's designed for fast, cost-effective cross-border payments. This isn't just theoretical potential, it's a practical solution in a world where speed and efficiency in financial transactions are more critical than ever. And as banks begin to pivot, adopting blockchain solutions and exploring the benefits of XRP, there's an added layer of credibility that mainstream investors simply can't ignore. But what does this mean for you, the investor? The answer is both simple and profound. Now is the time to consider accumulating a position. Look at the numbers. 2,500 XRP might seem like a modest holding, but at current prices, it represents a strategic entry point into what could be one of the most explosive bull runs of the cycle. When you tie it back to the current consolidation, it's like watching a dormant volcano gather strength before an inevitable eruption. And with each new day, the possibility of that breakout becomes increasingly tangible.
As an example, Ripple with RippleNet are set out to achieve, right? So lower cost, faster, more transparency and greater access. And I think one of the big questions here is, what happens with the correspondent banking model? I think the role that the banking system plays is crucial in the global economy, and I think that will continue. But the sort of traditional model of pre-funding accounts, for liquidity purposes, nostro vostro accounts. It's proven that part of the correspondent banking model is not needed.
Of course, no investment comes without risks. The crypto market is notoriously volatile, and while the potential upside is massive, the downsides are never far behind. Yet here's the nuance. While Bitcoin's legacy status sometimes shields it from wild fluctuations, XRP, because of its lower price point, offers an opportunity for exponential gains that are simply not available with larger, more established coins. This is where the strategy comes into play. If you're eyeing long-term gains, holding 2,500 XRP might not just be a bet on a cryptocurrency, it's a bet on a vision, on a community that's fighting tooth and nail to redefine the financial landscape. Let's shift gears for a moment and talk about market sentiment. On social media, the conversation is electric. Have you seen the latest posts with charts showing bull flags from as far back as 2014? It's almost surreal to witness the level of detail and passion that community members pour into these analyses. They're not just posting for the sake of it. They're meticulously piecing together every fragment of historical data, projecting it onto the current market, and arguing that this is the perfect storm waiting to happen. And while skeptics might label it as overhyped, history shows us that sometimes the most undervalued opportunities emerge from the quiet persistence of a loyal community.
The XRP price chart has been incredibly suppressed because in 2020, Ripple Labs got slapped with a lawsuit from the SEC stating that they sold the digital asset XRP as an unregistered security right as Bitcoin and Ether were breaking out into new all-time highs. It has been artificially suppressed by the SEC.
Now, I want to address a crucial point: risk management. Yes, there's potential for monumental gains, but it's vital to remember that this isn't financial advice. I'm simply sharing the plays I'm involved in, the strategies that I believe could yield significant returns. The crypto space is a wild frontier, and every investor must do their own research. But let's be honest, if you're already convinced by the technical analysis, if the community fervor and institutional signals resonate with you, then maybe it's time to ask yourself, what am I waiting for? And speaking of plays, let's talk about the broader market trends. Bitcoin is charting new territories, with some analysts forecasting a move towards the legendary $200,000 mark. If Bitcoin, with its established market dominance, can shatter records, imagine what XRP could do when it gets its due share of the spotlight. It's not just about riding the wave, it's about being part of the surge that redefines the crypto market landscape. And when we tie this back to the central thesis, it becomes clear that this isn't a random play. It's a carefully calculated move based on a convergence of technical patterns, community momentum, and emerging institutional support.
Just your friendly reminder that crypto isn't going anywhere. Did you know that Bitcoin could still hit $200,000 by the end of 2025? Here's how. So yes, Bitcoin is down 23% right now from its all-time high of $109,000 that it made on Jan 20th, the day of Trump's inauguration. But despite this, Bitcoin has still managed to outperform all other global market segments like US treasuries, equities, precious metals, real estate, and the stock market. And one of the main reasons why I'm so bullish on Bitcoin for 2025 is because of the Bitcoin Spot ETF. Millions of dollars has already started flowing back into the Bitcoin Spot ETF. On March 17th, the ETF saw $270 million of net inflows. This is the highest investment since February 4th. And it was the Bitcoin ETF investments which played a major role in Bitcoin's rally that we saw throughout 2024. And to be clear, corrections like this are extremely common in a bull run. Previous cycles we saw Bitcoin correct around 30%. This cycle, it's only been around 23%. There's a lot of unnecessary panic right now. And obviously with Donald Trump's tariff wars and the Fed refusing to cut interest rates, pullbacks like this are to be expected. So now we wait for the tariff wars to settle, the Fed to cut interest rates so more liquidity could flow into the crypto market, and for the ETF inflows to continue. Then we are officially back. And $200,000 for one Bitcoin in 2025 is not that far away.
There's an undeniable tension in the market right now, a kind of electrifying suspense. Every minute that passes could be the calm before a storm of massive inflows. And if history is any guide, these moments of consolidation are precisely when the smart money positions itself. The same way Bitcoin enthusiasts have seen their early positions multiply several times over, the XRP community is gearing up for a breakout that could redefine fortunes. And that's why holding 2,500 XRP isn't just about riding a trend. It's about making a strategic move that ties directly into the larger narrative of a new bull cycle. Of course, no journey is without its bumps. The road to institutional adoption, regulatory approvals, and a full-blown bull run is fraught with challenges. Yet, if you followed the crypto landscape over the years, you know that these hurdles often serve as catalysts. They filter out the noise and spotlight the truly resilient projects. And when you look at XRP, its story is one of perseverance, adaptation, and unwavering community support, even in the face of skepticism from traditional financial sectors. Now imagine this. It's April, and the market has finally shifted. XRP's price surges, propelled by a combination of retail fervor, institutional backing, and the kind of technical breakout that analysts have been predicting for months. Suddenly, that modest investment of 2,500 XRP transforms into a portfolio that could net you gains in the $10,000 range, or even more. It's a dramatic turnaround that epitomizes the unpredictable, high-stakes nature of the crypto world. And while no one can predict the future with absolute certainty, the convergence of these powerful indicators makes it a scenario worth betting on.
The settlement is the issues they're having with SEC. If those things get dropped and it's done, you may see a big growth and a spike with Ripple. And by the way, if you're a crypto person yourself.
As we near the end of this deep dive, consider this. Every chart, every tweet, every piece of analysis points back to one undeniable conclusion. If you're looking to capitalize on the next major crypto surge, XRP is a compelling candidate. The tools are in place, the community is louder than ever, and the momentum is building. In a market where every move is scrutinized and every decision carries weight, making an informed strategic choice is the only way forward. So what does all this mean for you? Before you head out, remember to smash that like button, join the XRP army by subscribing, and letting us know what you think down below in the comments. Whether you're a seasoned trader or a newcomer looking to make your mark, the opportunity is here. This isn't just about capitalizing on a moment, it's about being part of a movement that's set to redefine the crypto landscape. Stay tuned, stay informed, and as always, keep investing. Peace.